This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
This is the X-Zone. I am Rob McConnell. Welcome, everyone. I hope you've had a pleasant journey here to the X-Zone, because this is truly a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. It's a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. And the X-Zone comes to you with yours truly, Rob McConnell, Monday through Friday from 8 p.m. Eastern until midnight, right here on the Starcom Radio Network. Now, if you'd like to give us a call, toll free, it's 1-800-610-7035, and then the extension is 0. You can always send an email, xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, on Skype, X-Zone Radio TV, and you can always listen to the X-Zone 7/24/365 at www.xzoneradiotv.com. Facebook, Twitter, and all other social networks, X-Zone Radio TV. And if you'd like to call us using a payphone, a regular landline, and you'd like to listen to the show, it's 213-401-0080. It's Friday, July the 3rd, 2015. I would like to take this opportunity of wishing all the members of the X-Zone Nation who live in the wonderful United States of America a very happy and safe July 4th weekend. From everyone here to everyone out there, have a great time, but please be safe. My first guest tonight, X-Zone Nation, is Lorna Adams. And Lorna realized at the age of 14 that she could communicate with spirit guides. And a few years later, she discovered that she could also communicate with those who had left this life when a good friend of hers died and began to speak to her about 3 days after his death. He was like an older brother to her and her older sister's boyfriend. He connected with Lorna, and she then passed his messages on to her sister. And so from that day forward, she was able to connect with those who had passed. This also includes connecting with animals of all shapes and sizes. Lorna offers psychic readings, which she is in the process of connecting with your spirit guides. Now, during your reading, you may ask any question you like. You can direct your questions to your spirit guides, angels, or to someone who has passed. The information is passed on to you as it is heard by her. Lorna has many gifts. One of her strongest is the ability to hear spirits, and that is called Clairaudient. Joining me from the state of New Mexico is Lorna Adams. And Lorna, welcome to the X-Zone.
Hi, Rob. Thanks so much.
All right, Lorna, tell us how did you communicate with your older sister's dearly departed boyfriend? Did he contact you, or did you contact him?
Yeah, I didn't even know I had that ability to speak with anybody who had died. Mm-hmm. I was young. I was maybe 19, so I really didn't know a lot of people that had passed. And we were very close. He was like a brother to me. And since I had been communicating with my guides for so long, this inner voice, I knew instinctively that it wasn't just me or my mind. And I knew it was Dennis, because that's his name. And I wrote down as quick as I could everything that he had to say and some messages to pass on to my sister as well, because they had been dating for about 3 or 4 years, and he was just a sweetheart of a guy. So that was really my first experience speaking, strangely enough, to someone who'd passed.
What was it like after you contacted Dennis or you communicated with him, and then you found out that you could communicate with others who had passed?
Well, I've had a couple of other careers in my life, and I've had this ability all my life. I only started doing readings full time about 10 years ago, and they just took off like wildfire. I was a little trepidatious, would I really want to do this? So there was a time back when I lived in Atlanta, Georgia, and I had a large group of friends, regular friends, and one of them was killed tragically in a car accident. And he was actually the best friend of my boyfriend at the time. And he came through right away. And he said, "You've got to tell him that I'm here. You have to tell Leanne, my wife, that I'm okay." And I said, "I can't do that. I mean, they would never believe. They don't even know that I have this ability. And plus, it was a very touchy, tragic time. He had just passed in an awful car accident. So it was strange. So it's really morphed over the years, and I'm much more comfortable with it now."
So how do you prepare yourself to make this interdimensional communication?
I always do a short prayer and meditation. One of the biggest things I work on is protection, because there are all sorts of negative vibes, energies going out, there's in the air. Yeah. And the example I give for that to people is that you might be fine and happy, and you get in your car to run some errands. And then all of a sudden, you feel sort of cranky and maybe a little edgy, and you're thinking, "Yeah, what's wrong with me?" And a lot of times, we're way more sensitive than we give ourselves credit for. And you may inadvertently be picking up other people's stuff, their junk, really. So I always start off before a client comes with a prayer and meditation, mainly of protection. And the main people that I talk to, my folks, are the Holy Spirit, of course, my spirit guides, and the angels that are always around us.
Is it a different method of communication, whether it's a spirit guide or whether it's an angel, or if it's someone that you're asked to communicate with on the other side from somebody who has sought out your help? To I would imagine, and many times it's to get closure. Are you there?
There we go. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very different, and the way I describe it, I've been speaking with my guides my whole life. So sometimes throughout the day, I call it chirping. They'll sort of tap me on the shoulder in a subtle way, and sort of put a thought into my head. As an example, the other day, my sister kept coming into my head, and she's over in Los Angeles. And she kept coming up, and so I finally texted her, and I said, "Gosh, was there something going on? Because they keep bringing you to me." And she's a realtor, and she had a really great day, she's sort of up and coming, so she's very excited about it. So that's one example of how they speak to me. I always encourage everybody, any and everybody, to call in their guides and their angels. Because we have free will, first and foremost, they tend to stay on the sidelines, almost like a football game. Excuse me. And so I always encourage people to please call in your angels, your spirit guides, even if you don't know who that is or what that is. They're there for your highest good. Everything, small things, a good parking space, or perhaps something more serious like a health issue that comes up. They're ready, they're willing, and always there to help us.
Do they ever get tired of helping us?
Not really. That's more of a human sort of attribute that we assign to them, because many people say to me, well, gosh, I don't want to bother them.
Yeah.
You know, which is kind of funny, but that's their purpose. That's why they're here. That's why they're present. Sometimes I'll describe spirit guides because they can be extremely subtle. And, you know, we live very busy lives. And I describe spirit guides as a small tap on the shoulder, a gut feeling, a heart feeling, something feels off here, this isn't working, I shouldn't be here.
Right.
Those are your spirit guides.
And I would imagine a lot of people just think that's intuition. And is there a difference between intuition and getting a message from your spirit guide or your angels?
They're very, very close because they're all working for the same end result, which is our highest good. So it's very, very close. You could call it intuition, and most people have very, very good instincts. It's just when it comes to us relying on them, it gets a little tricky. We think, oh, that's just my mind. I just made that up, and they want to dismiss it. And so I encourage people, unless it's something negative. If it's negative, that's a whole other story. But as far as if it's a positive, then I say go with it.
How do you turn it on and off, though?
I know, that's odd, isn't it? When I'm done doing readings, I actually clear myself energetically with a sort of ritual that I do, that I was taught. Clear myself of a client's energy. Perhaps we spoke to 3 or 4 people on the other side in between clients. And I would have to show it to you. But it's a very simple cleansing process of thanking the people that have come through from the other side, sending them back to where they came from, being very grateful that they came forward, and send them back on their way, because I don't want them hanging around. I'm, finished, so it's like sort of go on. So I'll do that between clients. I'll do a little clearing process, and of course gratitude is huge too.
So when you say you don't want them hanging around, do they like to kind of chum around with us livings? Do they miss the physical entity? Is that why they want to hang around?
Not so much. They really don't. I've never really found someone who passed who misses the physical body. The physical body seems to be such an incredible burden, especially as we get older. So not so much. It's what's drawing those who have passed to you, perhaps, is love. They might miss you. They want to see what you're up to. They want to visit. If there's more activity going on in the house, it's so typical, the lights flashing on and off, the electricity, they're able to energetically tune into that electricity. That's why that happens, lights coming on and off. They really want to be acknowledged. That's their way. 99% of the time, this is just my experience, they want to say hello, I love you, I'm watching out over you, I'm here, I haven't gone anywhere, I'm not suffering. So that's really most of the people that come through, this is what I get.
How do you connect with someone on the other side? Because I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, all right, since the beginning of time, everybody who's been born and everyone who's passed, there must be a lot of spirits out there. How do you hone in on that one spirit or that one soul that you or someone who comes to see you wants to communicate with?
Well, I am just the conduit. I am just the messenger. It doesn't come from me, the information, because it would be impossible. I made some notes, like I had told you, about you.
Yeah.
And I don't know you. We've never met.
Nope.
I've never spoken to you.
Nope.
So really it is the spirit guides that I am listening to. And it's my job, as I see it, is to get out of the way. And so the way I work, for some reason, I don't know why, I don't use cards or anything like that. But I go by the person's first name. So they say, well, my mother passed. And I'll say, what was her first name? What is her first name? And then I'll sort of ask her to come forward. And I mentally look at the energy. I listen to what the guides are saying. And then the guides actually bring this person through who has passed. And they can't wait to start talking.
All right, you were mentioning to me before we went to air that you took some notes down that you were given for me. So why don't you share that with myself and the Exo Nation now?
Okay, and this is something that I started doing a while ago, and it's sort of funny because I started it as a game as I was doing my prayer and meditation. And I will get this information before clients come, and many times I get new clients. I have no idea who they are. And so I ask the guides, what's going on with this person? How can we be of service to this person? So the first thing I get with you, Rob, right away, right off the bat, is your mom. Just bigger than life. And I don't know if she's passed or not because energy is energy. She's extremely strong, though, and she's around you quite a bit. She's strong in a good way. She can be a little bit, and I don't mean to be rude, but she can be kind of pushy in a good way. Very strong woman. Let's see what else if I can read my handwriting. Yeah. And so as far as she starts talking about you and what a hard worker you are, and she says, he may have to remind himself sometimes to lighten up a little bit because you tend to be, in a good way, serious about what you do, very thorough. I wouldn't go as far as to say a type A because you're not that uptight.
True.
But you do like all your ducks in a row. You are a professional, and a professional wants everything done correctly. And the good thing about you, though, is I think that you've gotten better over the years. Your guides say that if it wasn't, just the exact this or the exact that, perhaps in the past, I'm talking a long time ago, that would have really kind of ticked you off.
Yeah,
now not so much.
You're right.
Now you're like, oh, gosh, it's okay.
Yeah.
Probably nobody even noticed. So just let's chill out.
Yeah, no, everything, you're right, except my mom is still with us, thank God. She is very strong. She lives in Montreal. I live in Hamilton. I call her every second or third day because both mom and dad are getting on in age. And, it's funny that you really don't appreciate your parents when you're young.
Very true.
I've certainly learned what they went through, how fortunate I am, and I like letting them know that I love them and thank them every chance I get.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a funny issue since our energy is just energy. And so some people might say, well, how can you not tell if someone has passed or not? Because their energy just comes through. And as I was writing that, I thought, gosh, if she's around, you have a close relationship, a connection with her. And they go on with just a few sentences about dad. And I'm not sure if this is your grandfather or your dad, because grandparent energy is extremely strong. And I always say they will elbow their way to the front of the line to get to you, to speak to you. So a man comes through very strong, and I said, gosh, is this dad or grandpa? I'm not sure. He's very happy. He's almost a dreamer. He's very easy to please. He's just a happy person. It's not that he's not a hard worker, but the daydreamer part sort of overlaps into the hard working section of his personality. And then, for some reason, they gave me a picture of Laurel and Hardy in my mind. And I don't know what the reference is. And they'll do this quite often. Let's say if you and I were doing an hour private reading,
right?
They will constantly, give me these sorts of references that mean nothing to me. And I'm like, well, I'll say to them in my mind, really? Do I have to say that? And they're like, yeah, say it, pass it on, just pass it on. And so I try not to judge it. I try to stay out of my own way. I don't edit it. It's not my job. So for all I know, your grandfather or dad was a big Laurel and Hardy fan. I'm not sure what the connection is.
Neither am I. My dad is still with us. I never knew my grandfather. So that Laurel and Hardy connection, I don't know. It may come to me later on, but right off the top of my head, it doesn't ring any bells. Speaking about bells, you and I have to take a commercial break. Talk about a segue. Wow. Exonation, Lorna Adams is our special guest. www.lornaadams.com is her website. And we'll both be back on the other side of this short commercial break as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, and around the world on the Starcom Radio Network. As I say, if you want to listen to what real radio is and is going to be, visit my good friend Ed Till, Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. right here on the Starcom Radio Network. We'll be back in a little while. Don't go away.
Are you considering calling a psychic to read your situation? Then consider David Champion, a psychic medium for more than 20 years with thousands of readings under his belt. David Champion will make you feel comfortable. He has proven to be honest and accurate. He's a straight shooter. There's no guesswork. What he sees is what you get. While he is a medium, most of the calls focus on relationships. Not only love, but work, school, neighbors, and more. Need help with finding a job and preparing for the interview? Are you dealing with people who are obstacles in your path? For more information, go to davidchampion.com. $1.50 per minute paid by credit card with a minimum of 30 minutes. For your reading with David Champion, call 1-877-702-8598. That's 1-877-702-8598. Manifestation is driven by imagination, intent, and passion. In our culture, all three have been distorted and disabled by modern media and exploitation. Re-engage your imagination and your passion by entering into the world of paranormal romance. Kahir O'Donnell takes her readers on an exciting journey into the endless possibilities of loving, passionate, and mutually respectful male-female relationship. Her latest book, The Long Dark Night, features special ops adventure, a daring rescue, a psychic woman from the stars, and a special agent that will die to protect her. The Long Dark Night by Kahira O'Donnell is now available at KahiraO'Donnell.com or Amazon.com. Fartlets, fartlings, pongies, and honkers. They have so many names, makes you go bonkers. Rear tempest, butt bubbles, bottom burps, all aside. Why does it smell like a little rat died? Hail the fart, whenever, wherever, whoever. Its existence actually enriches our lives because it gives us those unforgettable moments that we can all recall again and again that are always good for yet another laugh. A new expose on farting. Get your copy of The Endearing Fart by Eileen Dover at www.theendearingfart.com. Unwilling to be the government's deadly assassin, gifted psychic Kahara Mitchell went AWOL and ended up buried under rubble in the wake of a great tsunami. She regained consciousness far from Earth on the medical ship of a Daguerreonian intergalactic fleet. Has she been rescued or abducted by aliens? The Chalice of Carrie, Kahira O'Donnell's latest paranormal science fiction romance, is the passionate story of an Earth woman and her destined mates, twin kings from another galaxy.
Kahara uses her gifts fighting alongside Lords Rom and Ra in a war that will determine the destiny of galaxies. The Chalice of Kari by Kahira O'Donnell is now available at KahiraO'Donnell.com or at Amazon.com.
My name is Michael Telstar, Canada's leading mentalist from Toronto, Ontario.
Hi, my name is Splenda, and you're listening to my dad, Ron McConnell, on the X-Zone.
This is Psychic Dorothy from St. Catharines, and you're listening to Rob McConnell.
Hello, my name is Holly Reeves, an astrologer from Astro For You, and you're listening to Canada's #1 paranormal radio show, The X-Zone, with Rob McConnell.
Welcome to The X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Welcome back, everyone. Lorna Adams is my special guest this hour. www.lornaadams.com. When you speak to someone who has passed, Lorna, is there a certain amount of time that has to pass before you can actually connect with them?
No, there's not. And if I may just, before I answer that question, so your grandfather would like you to ask your dad the next time you see him. I believe the Laurel and Hardy reference may have been the first movie that your dad was taken to by the grandfather.
I will certainly ask, and okay. I will certainly let you know.
They started, after you went to break, they said, wait, here's the rest of it. And I said, okay, I'll pass it on. So
okay, thank you.
Yeah, a lot of times, interesting, the pattern that I see is that someone will pass, and for the next 30 days, they seem to be very active. That is, you may see them appear at night. 3 o'clock in the morning is a very special hour for spirit. Generally, our world is quiet then. It's easier for them to vibrationally slow their vibration down to this Earth that we're on, which is a much slower vibration, and come to visit us. So someone can come to me and say, gosh, my son or husband passed a week ago. It could have been even 3 days ago. There are really no set rules that I've experienced with that.
So I always thought that when someone died, there was a time between the time they were passed to the time that they go to heaven or wherever it is they go. And in that time, it's like an indoctrination period. But I guess I'm wrong.
No, I think both are existing simultaneously. That's the interesting thing. I also agree with you that there is, I sometimes call it an orientation, for lack of a better word, of as you process and transfer out of the physical body back into, I believe, where we came from, or where we'll all return. So I'm not sure how that happens, but I have had clients come to me. A gal came to me a year ago. She had lost their grown son. And he came through, clear as a bell, was actually standing behind the couch where she was sitting, and he was very much present.
So you actually see the manifestation of the spirit?
Yes.
Wow.
Actually, and a picture is worth 1,000 words.
Yes.
That's so true. So many times my guides will show me a picture, and then I've got to explain it. A lot of times when people come through from the other side, they will they will stand a certain way. They will hold their hands perhaps behind their back. They will do very specific body posturing, and they tell me, show them this. And so I say, okay, this is what he's doing now. He's standing like this, or he's sitting like this. And it just hits them right over the head. It becomes very emotional. because that's the way they say that's the way he always sat. He always did that. So that is the sort of confirmation. I could go on and on. Those are some of the types of confirmation that I get of who I'm talking to.
Why would someone go to a psychic? How can a psychic help someone?
A psychic reading, I do, I'm psychic and I also speak with the afterlife. So I very much focus on the current life that we're in right now. Mm-hmm. Having a psychic reading is really just another tool in the toolbox of life. It's another opinion. I believe, can be trusted. I trust my spirit guides and the Holy Spirit. So it's just one more piece of information. That's how I look at it. And ultimately, I find that most of us, we make up our minds on our own. Many times we might go around and ask 4 of our friends, how do you feel about this job in Montana? Does it feel good? Should I take it? And again, the gut feeling comes up. So a reading can help clarify so many things. It can also, when you connect with someone who's passed, perhaps you were at their bedside and it looked awful to you. And many times people that have passed come through and they say, I know it looked pretty bad, but I'm really okay. So a lot of people leave with peace and closure.
Has there ever been a time when someone has asked you to communicate with the other side and the message you get from the other side is, I don't want to speak to them?
Well, I'll give you the reverse of what happens, Rob.
Okay.
What happens is grief here on earth is a very thick, very heavy energy. And if you are grieving so heavily, the person that they want to talk to that is passed will not come through. And I've asked them, why do you do that? And it's sort of like if you have children. Do you enable them? Do you allow them to sleep on your couch until they're 25? Or do you give them a little bit of tough love and say, look, you got to stand on your own 2 feet? And this is what the people on the other side tell me. It's sort of a rare occasion that someone is so just draped in grief and can hardly function. And let's say it's been about maybe a year since that person passed. So the grief will act as a wall, and the person that has passed will say to me, she's not ready. She's not ready yet to hear from me. She's got to stand on her own before she can come to me. So it seems a little cruel, but having done it so many times, I do understand it.
But let me ask my question again. Has it ever happened where someone on the other side just doesn't want to speak to the person that wants to communicate with them?
Probably maybe twice in 10 years.
Wow.
Maybe twice. And what I get is complete silence. A door that is completely closed, and my guides will say to me, this is not for you right now. This is not for them. Leave it alone.
So it seems as if your guides are, for a lack of better words, your translators or your concierges that get you hooked up with the spirits that you want. Is this right?
A lot of times that is right, and many times in a reading when someone is sitting in front of me, it's really their spirit guides that are coming through.
Interesting.
Not mine, because we all have spirit guides, whether we're aware of them or not. And a lot of people have the misconception that spirit guides are a bunch of folks that are, they've died and now they're on the other side. That's not really what I'm told by my guides. Guides are helpers, sort of our best friends on the other side to help and guide. Although if we have a parent or a grandparent that we were close to, I know my dad is one of my guides, but he's sort of, they say, in the back of the line. Not sure why that is, but so I'll have him. Dad will pop up periodically.
What's it like when you're asked to communicate with a child that has passed on the other side? That must be hard on you.
You know, it's really not, because I feel like this is almost cheating on my side, because I am lucky enough and blessed enough to see how at peace and how whole that little person has become. And as they return to the place that they came from, what's difficult is and are the people that are left behind, the mom and dad that tragically lost that child. I know it's a terrible loss, but it's great confirmation, gives parents a great deal of peace when the child comes across and refers to certain, perhaps, events or things they did at the funeral or the memorial, or what the parents have done with his or her room since they left the planet. And so it relieves them, it relieves the grief, and most of the time they cry. It's very emotional. And in those instances, it's happy tears.
What does happen, or where do the spirits go once they leave this plane? Is there heaven, or is there some other place that we just can't understand at this point in our existence, and this is why we use the word heaven?
Yeah, I believe so. I believe in parallel universes, in different dimensions. That's how I believe my spirit guides and spirit guides come to me, is through this other dimension. There is not, as far as I go, I know there's so many books, great books that have been written on that topic. Conversations with God. Sylvia Browne wrote a couple of great books about what is on the other side.
Well, she knows for sure now.
Yes, she would. So I'm really not sure. They don't give me too much clarity. And my guides are sort of like my guides. I can only speak for my guides. They're a little bit like school teachers. It's like, we're going to give you just as much as you can understand at this time. And as I progress, as time goes by, they give me more. And so it's sort of like going up through, grade school.
How come Sylvia Browne did not know when she was going to die if she is psychic, or was psychic?
How do you know that she didn't?
She was booking appointments way past her death.
Yeah. One thing that Sylvia Browne had to offer that resonates with me, that's an excellent question. Yeah, the guides say she suspected, but Sylvia Browne always said that we came into this life with 9 exit points. And I've been aware of a few of my exit points when they've come and gone. Exit points are where situations where we can use our free will in which to leave this planet. And we can let them pass, or we can say, yes, it's time to go. A good example of that, a couple has been married for 50 years. The wife dies, and lo and behold, a week later, the man dies.
Right.
So I believe a lot of that has to do with free will. It just simply doesn't want to go on or be without her.
Well, we call that he died of a broken heart.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's a great amount of truth in that.
What's the hardest part about being a psychic?
Well, the hardest part is that there are so many scams and frauds out there. And clients come and tell me, and I always tell people, if someone tells you what they charge, and if they change that price and want to do some magic voodoo spell on you to get this imaginary black energy off of you, only for $750, I say, run, don't walk, run away. That's the hardest thing, is the perception of psychics, and there are so many
charlatans.
Scams. Yeah, and it's a shame.
So how does someone tell who is a good psychic and who is a bad psychic? Is it just the monetary part of it, or is it, because the way I see it, and I've seen this many times, where someone that I know for a fact has no psychic ability whatsoever sees it as a cash cow, and they've gotten into becoming telephone psychics.
Right. And what I say to that is not to be too high and mighty, Rob.
Right.
But I think that's so immoral, and I think that's so wrong. And ultimately, I would not want that person's karma because they're just being an out and out liar. That to me is a scam. A lot of people, I ask people, how did you find me? And it's mostly word of mouth, my website, lornaadams.com. And I hear from a lot of people, which is very complimentary and very humbling. They say, I just liked your face. You resonated with me. You sound like the real deal. You're down to earth. And so, I'm very grateful for those, nice compliments.
What about soulmates? Do we all have soulmates, and how do we know who our soulmate is?
I hate to say no, but I don't know. I personally don't believe that we're designed to be with one person. Is there a soulmate? Sort of, kind of. It's a little bit of a fallacy, I believe. But who am I to tell you what to believe? If you feel that you're with your soulmate, then God bless you that you found someone to love and cherish that much.
So do you think we should be with more than one person?
No, but things happen in life. Sometimes people get married when they're 20 and they go, "Oh my gosh, what have I done?"
Yeah.
They're 25. All of a sudden, they have some brain matter working finally, and they say, "What did I do?" So we change, as you know, as all throughout our life. And to my clients, I say, would you pick the same man, if it's a woman, at 30 that you would at 40 or 50? And ultimately, the answer is, heck no.
I must be strange then.
Why?
I would. I'd pick the same person. I'm very happy.
So you've been married to one person?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you're lucky. You're very fortunate, and that you don't see that a lot.
Well, marriage, like anything else, takes work. It's a two-sided street. I don't know any relationship on this planet where it's been goo-goo gaga, love and hugs and kisses without a little bit of a tussle here, there, and everywhere.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
I've got a question for you. I've got 6 kids, or we have 6
Wow.
kids. Yeah. What's going on? What's going on with them?
Well, I would take them one at a time.
All right.
By their first name only.
All right. Do you want to go in any specific order of age?
No. If there's one that you're particularly concerned about, just because, time constraint that we have right now, so just pick one. Shoot.
Stephanie.
Okay. And Stephanie feels right away, she comes through as, I know what I want, I know where I'm going, I know what my path is. And she gets a little bit, sometimes she doesn't show that. Sometimes it is, the guides say, Mom and Dad, you may not see that.
Mm-hmm.
She feels very sure-footed, are the words they use. This is a bad metaphor. Like a good horse. Probably because I've had horses for most of my life. But she's very sure-footed and sure of herself. Any particular question? Yeah. Okay. I take that back because they're talking. You and her mother can stop worrying so much. It will work itself out. It is not the end of the world. It's part of her process, and it's part of her path.
All right, I'll just give you one more child, Zachary.
Yeah. And you have another son as well?
I've got 3 sons.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny because they're sort of crossing over. And Zachary comes through one of them is, it could be Zachary, it may be the other boys. The energy sometimes commingles. He feels very free-spirited. He almost feels like a surfer. But he's also a deep thinker at the same time. He's not a bum. He's not I don't want to work. Mm-hmm. has more of he has a softness to him, and a very artistic type of softness, right? And again, they say he's a deep thinker, and I see him like sitting on the beach as he's watching the waves crash, and he's just thinking about how unbelievable that is. He seems to notice the very small things in life that most of us don't even look at.
All right, thanks for that. Where do you see the human race progressing? What do the guides tell you about where we're going to be going in the years to come? How are we going to progress?
Well, you may or may not agree. I feel that we have digressed terribly. Many people have been talking about the shift. They had been speaking about that for, the last 2, 3, 4 years. And my guides during dreams, they're not my regular spirit guides, they're higher beings. And they show me pictures of the United States maps that are going to be changing sort of drastically. It's not all, it's not like a bad movie where it happens all at once. But I know that what we've been doing to the earth, I believe they tell me the time is coming where we're going to pay the price for that. What does that mean? Well, a lot of fracking equals a lot of sinkholes, a lot of excess use, and being spoiled rotten. There's a price to pay for that. So many changes are coming, but they also accentuate. They always think, now, don't forget to add this. They're going to be slow changes. One of them is global warming. Some people believe, some people don't, and how much longer can we suck this planet dry of its resources for our own use?
That, my dear, is the million-dollar question, and I think Mother Earth and Mother Nature are starting to show us that, hey, guys, enough is enough. Lorna, stand by. We have to take our final set of breaks here. X Zone Nation, Lorna Adams is our guest. www.lornaadams.com, and we'll be back on the other side of this short set of breaks. Don't go away.
Back in Victorian England, a famous theologian posed a perplexing riddle. Why are the two top personalities in the Bible tagged with the numbers 7 and 11? Academics agree the answer is found in the stunning discovery of a hitherto secret Bible structure explained in a new book called The Genesis Grid. The discovery is so simple that preschool children could illustrate it. Certain claims are hugely controversial and may offend some, but at the X Zone, we've studied this awesome new book and agree with one expert, and I quote, "These discoveries appear to be beyond coincidence." So who or what hid this wonderful pattern in the Bible, and what might they do next? Find out more, X Zone Nation, and read reviews on www.genesisgrid.co.uk. That's www.genesisgrid.co.uk. Do you think you have energy problems in your home? Do you feel better when you're away than when you're home? Joey Korn is a global leader in the world of dowsing who specializes in personal energy clearing and space clearing. He can help you create an ideal energy environment in your home no matter where you live in the world. Learn about his remote spiritual house cleaning services and much more at www.dowsers.com. You can get Joey's book, Dowsing, A Path to Enlightenment, as well as other dowsing books and tools, Kabbalah books, and Walter Russell books. Joey's work is really amazing. Go to dowsers.com right now. That's DOWSERS.com, or call 1-877-DOWSING. That's 1-877-369-7464. Are you, or is someone you know, struggling with addictions, depression, anxiety, relationships, low self-esteem, lack of confidence, grief, success, and prosperity? Do you know that your subconscious belief plays a big role in the outcome of your hard work? We can help you permanently change the beliefs that may be the reason for your struggles and failures. We care about getting you the return on your investment and the results you are looking for. We can help you be free of the limitations of your past and in realizing your highest potential. We work with people by phone and Skype. For more information, visit us at www.ritasoman.com. That's www.ritasoman.com.
Exonation, Lorna Adams is my guest, lornaadams.com, and we're coming to you from our station, from our broadcast center, not our station, our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, and around the world on the Starcom radio network. Lorna, how can we tell who our guides are, how many guides we have, or if we have angels around us?
You can ask anytime you like for your guides to make themselves present. I always, another thing I suggest to clients is the sleep state, that is when we are sleeping, is about the closest we come to death. So many times, many people travel, they do astral projection or astral travel, they leave their body at night. So I suggest to people, if you want to meet up with a loved one that you're missing terribly, or just want to speak to them, or perhaps you'd like their support, before you go to sleep, ask for one particular guide, spirit guide or angel to come through and help you with a problem. If it's a problem or an issue or a decision you're trying to make, this goes along with the saying of just sleep on it.
Right.
You know? Yeah. So and people say, well, I didn't get an answer the first time. Well, keep asking. It's okay.
How important is it to be open and trustful during a psychic reading?
Well, it makes my job so much easier because, and I understand totally people's skepticism. So some people will come to see me, and I think it's kind of funny, and they'll have very much a poker face. Let's not let on that she just hit the nail on the head. And so it's funny because it really doesn't bother me because, again, I'm just passing on the information. It is a little bit harder to grasp the energy, to feel it, to process it, as I do in my mind through my guides. It almost feels energetically like some people put up lead walls. And it just makes the process more difficult. And the thing is, you're sort of shooting yourself in the foot by doing that, because the more open you are, the more information comes across at a high rate of speed. So you really are doing yourself a favor if you can go with an open mind.
So honesty on both on the side of the person requesting the reading is, I would imagine, of the utmost importance.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, otherwise, what's the point?
Gotcha. Our time is nearly up, but what is your message for the X-Zone Nation tonight? Your final message.
My message would be, first and foremost, that even if you think spirit guides are a bunch of bunk or angels, I would urge you, regardless, to call on them. Also, those that have passed, if you would like to speak to them, they are listening. Go ahead and speak to them in your car while you're driving to work. You're not crazy. It's not just your mind. If you're seeing things out of the corner of your eye, that is spirit making itself known in a very subtle way. My suggestion would be to depend more on your spirit guides and ask your angels to become a part of your life and to help you open doors and help you see your path more clearly.
Lorna, thanks very much for joining us. It's been a pleasure talking to you and your family. A very happy and safe 4th of July.
Thank you so much, Rob. It's
Bye-bye
been great.
now. Exonation, Lorna Adams has been our guest this hour. www.lornaadams.com. That's www.lornaadams.com. Now, I'll be back on the other side of the top of the hour as we continue with, we're going to be talking to a lady in the next hour about what it's like to be a woman in Islam. Very controversial topic. Coming up next, here in the X-Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. 1-800-610-7035, worldwide toll-free. Email xzone at xzoneradiotv.com. On all social media sites, X-Zone Radio TV. And our main website, www.xzoneradiotv.com. My name is Rob McConnell. This is the X-Zone, and you're listening to us live and around the world on the Starcom Radio Network. Don't go away.
Back in Victorian England, a famous theologian posed a perplexing riddle. Why are the two top personalities in the Bible tagged with the numbers 7 and 11? Academics agree the answer is found in the stunning discovery of a hitherto secret Bible structure explained in a new book called The Genesis Grid. The discovery is so simple that preschool children could illustrate it. Certain claims are hugely controversial and may offend some, but at the X-Zone, we've studied this awesome new book and agree with one expert, and I quote, "These discoveries appear to be beyond coincidence." So who or what hid this wonderful pattern in the Bible, and what might they do next? Find out more, X-Zone Nation, and read reviews on www.genesisgrid.co.uk. That's www.genesisgrid.co.uk.
Fartlets, fartlings, pongies, and honkers. They have so many names, makes you go bonkers. Rear tempest, butt bubbles, bottom burps, all aside. Why does it smell like a little rat died? Hail the fart, whenever, wherever, whoever. Its existence actually enriches our lives because it